All right. Now I have bio that I created for today. All right. Screen. Sometimes it's very. All right. Welcome to Kids Zoom Show. Okay, stop here. Something is happening. Okay. Uh-oh. It says that the microphone and speaker are not working properly. Recording will not include audio. That has never happened before. Let's see. All right, let's try again. All right, let's see if this will do it. All right. Somehow it totally stopped the slideshow. I'm going to try and get it back again. This is very unusual. Okay. This won't, well, even with the slideshow, even if the audio doesn't come out, you can read it. Let's see. Get back to Zoom. I'm going to try screen sharing again. All right. So we started out with the welcome. Let's see if we can get the slideshow going. Okay. Very strange. Let's try this. Welcome to Raising Happy Kids Zoom Show, episode 29. The one rule keeps harmony for you. During this 1 hour Zoom show, I focus on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule to raising happy kids. Each episode has at least one example of the one rule in action, demonstrating how it helps you raise a happy child. Then we have Q&A and discussion. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up the one rule. The one rule equals agreement, agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You've found agreement. You've found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. When I started working on today's slideshow, I thought I understood certain things, but as I worked, more was revealed. Recently, there have been questions and concerns that using the one rule might not work. I understand where these concerns come from. After all, it is such a different approach than parents are in charge. Not only that, it is so simple. How can something that simple work? It just couldn't be that simple. And since it is so simple, it must not really work. It's got to fail. It doesn't make sense. Although I really want everyone to adopt the one rule when relating to kids from birth onward, I do understand the concerns, and I'm going to do my best to address them today. When I was first introduced by 3-year-old children to what I now call the one rule, I told them to help them understand what I wanted to help them do, that they were each important. Then I pointed to each of them and said, "You are important, and you are important." Oh, cool. We have a guest. Okay. I'm going to continue with the slideshow. Let's see. They could agree with that. One little girl's awareness expanded to realize that they were both important. I saw it as her eyes lit up. I just realized when I wrote this that her eyes may have lit up because she thought of a solution. However, before thinking of the solution, she had to accept that the solution had to be something that they both liked. Until now, I've believed that her eyes lit up because she expanded her thinking to accept that both of them were important. That may be true. However, it is only now that I've come to realize that whether that is true or not, by following what is now known as the one rule, she found the solution that was waiting in harmony. That is true for anyone who uses the one rule. There may be more than one harmonious solution, but it has been my experience working with kids that there is always a solution. No one has to believe that they are important or that the other person is important. But when a solution is discovered that all involved truly like, so they can agree to it, they are acting in harmony. They are harmony in action. This is built into the one rule. Even if people's awareness does not expand to include the importance of the other person, as long as they are following the rule, they find a solution that they both like or they all like, and they agree to use that solution. The result is harmony. They also get to feel good about themselves and their life. They're happy with the solution. It may not be the solution they originally thought of, but they like it anyway. That is why they agreed to it. Think about how you feel when things are going the way you want them to go. You feel good, right? Another thing I mentioned to those first two little girls was that they both deserve to have what they want, and that we were going to figure out how to do this. This is the main thing that people have trouble with. This is why people have trouble believing that the one rule works. They want something and someone else wants the same thing. Like the little girls both wanted to swing on the same swing, the only swing available. Whatever the situation, it seems that there is no way that both people could have what they want. They think that they have to give up on what they want, or the other person does. That is the most common outcome. That is what people are used to. It's hard to realize that there is a harmonious solution. It's hard to accept a possibility that seems so uncommon. I just realized that when I promised, I vowed to never force my children to do what they did not want to do. I put myself in the perfect position to be open to harmonious answers. Harmonious solutions require that everyone involved agrees. This does not mean that they just say they agree, but they fully, truly agree, because that solution is something that they like. So I have been using the one rule for at least 38 years. For most of those years, it was called the power of respect, and there were 108 respect tools, skills, and strategies I used to make it work. That's why I knew I'd found a true solution, mighty enough to stand on its own. One rule. In case some of you don't know, the one rule came into being one night when I wondered if people would actually have to learn the 108 tools, skills, and strategies I'd use to create respectful relationships with the kids in my life. That night I asked myself, of the 108, what is the least that people need to know to be able to raise happy kids? The one rule was my answer. And that one rule is powerful enough to create harmony between parents and kids, and powerful enough to be your fail-safe in your intention to raise happy kids. The one rule is love in action. Here are a couple of examples of how the one rule can ensure happy kids and harmony between adults and kids. My youngest daughter and my 6-year-old grandson were visiting. The one rule had just taken on its name. As I was explaining the process to them, my daughter used the word agreement to explain the process in one word. I liked it. I use it. It seems appropriate that the one rule has a one-word description. My grandson liked to watch TV and YouTube video cartoons. My daughter did not really want him to do that, especially as much as he wanted to. One time, when he asked me to set up my laptop for him, I told him that I felt uncomfortable doing this because his mom did not feel good about it. I wanted to work this out with her too. He thought about this briefly and suggested that he and I play cards. So we did. We had fun. So here, all people involved were honored. Harmony was maintained. Everyone felt cared about. Another example is from someone I coached on the One Rule. One issue she had was feeling uncomfortable always buying her 5-year-old daughter things every time they went to the store, especially when her daughter was not behaving in ways she liked. She came up with an idea that they all liked. She made a chart of behavior that she liked. Her daughter could earn money for those behaviors and buy her own things. Her daughter liked earning money, and the parents liked the behavior. Here again, all people involved were honored, harmony was maintained, and everyone felt cared about. So I hope you'll join me in the movement to help kids grow up happy and in harmony. Use the One Rule and become an affiliate or a partner, and share this with many, many more. The affiliate program and partner program are part of the Happy Kids business launch happening soon. Join us. I'm glad you're here. Now let's have Q&A and discussion.
Hi, Miss Karen.
Hi, Batool.
Hi, I'm sorry I was a little late. Actually, was winding up the work quickly, and then I joined.
Yes.
But at least I saw. So I missed the beginning part. I'll see in the recording again. The beginning part.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I'll see in the recording again. Miss Karen, tell me something about happiness. That how can a person judge that he or she is happy? What feelings or what symptoms are there for happiness for kids and for adults? How will you can explain happiness to them?
Huh. Interesting question. Um,
Mm,
well, I know when I feel happy, I feel good inside. Um, I know one of the things going on is the thoughts I'm thinking uh, are thoughts that I like, that feel good to me. But the main thing is the feeling inside, kind of like uh, very light and open um, and flowing and kind of like a fountain, maybe. Um, but it feels really good. Um, I don't know how do you experience it?
same like you are saying. I feel like flying, I want to fly. I'm free from something.
Huh?
I feel like, something is giving me positive feeling, it feels like my blood circulation is fast now. I'm feeling that. Or sometimes it's a sensation on my body I feel, which tells like, wow, this is nice for us. It's a it's a good feeling. I
Yeah.
feel happy. I feel calm inside,
Yes.
relaxing, something like that I feel.
Right.
So I was thinking that maybe people feel differently for happiness. So how can we, judge like judge happiness for every person? How do they feel? Like share their feelings of happiness.
That would
Because
be
one
nice.
rule is because one rule is for happiness.
Right.
So so how? I think one thing just came in my mind when I joined the show. I wanted to ask you about it, that
Yes.
if we say that one rule actually neglects selfishness, will it be true?
Um, in a way, it's true. In a way, it isn't, because um, in order to really find agreement, which is what the one rule is calling for, you have to um, feel good about whatever the solution is. And if it's something that you don't feel good about, it's very important not to agree to it. So in that way, you have to be selfish in that way. But the thing about the one rule, this is very interesting to me. Thank you, Batool, for this question.
Thank
I hadn't thought of it in this way, but it combines being selfish and being unselfish. It combines them in it makes them both, it makes them into, maybe into something different, because as I said, you need to feel good about what you're saying yes to, what you're agreeing to, and the other person does too. And if they cannot say yes to it, then whatever that solution is not the harmonious solution. It's so in that way you might have to, okay, like let's say those two little girls um who both wanted to use this one swing. they both they both gave up the idea, the picture that they might have had in their minds about getting to sit on the swing and swing on it by yourself. That had to be given up in this situation, but they were both very happy. They felt good about the solution that came to this one little girl, that she shared that they could both be on the swing, and the other little girl, who was a little bit smaller, would sit on her lap facing her, and they would swing that way. And they were both just delighted with this other possibility, even though, so they didn't get to selfishly hold on to the original idea they each had, but the idea that came was completely enjoyable to them. So it's an interesting situation in terms of selfish and not selfish. It They both have their parts in there, and I'd never thought of that before.
you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. And suppose someone wants to, suppose if someone wants to, stay alone, like wants to be alone for a little while. That is what's something which a solution came to him or her, that I want a little bit personal time for myself, loneliness, wandering in the world, like anything, sitting near the sea or shore or something like that. But on
Yes.
the other people feel that he should not, right? And
Okay.
maybe they don't want him. But to him, the solution is he needs privacy right now. He needs some time. So at that time, what category will you define the self rule in selfishness, or will it be balance? What do you think? Because others are not agreeing. they want to, accompany him or her, they want him, but that person feels right now he needs, because sometimes it's natural that a person needs privacy or some lonely time of his
Right.
or her own. So will one rule be here implemented as well or not?
Well, let's think about it. Um, because, because the one rule would be to find agreement, right?
Yeah.
So that the person has expressed that they want some time alone,
Yes.
and the other people are saying that they want to be with this person. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Um,
It happens with children also. Sometimes we feel that the child needs some time, crying, or let him be off, let him be alone, let him think about it, and other children, they want the child to come, or the parents, some people don't want the child to be alone, but the child really needs some space at that time. It can be teenagers also, it can be children also, young, whatever, but this is in every phase, I believe it comes.
well, the thing is that um, is this is
I'm
this
fine.
being alone something that the person totally wants and wants right then?
I think so, for a little while at that time.
Okay, then is there any reason? Because see, the thing about the one rule is it's very situational specific. So it even though it's a general rule, its
Mm-hmm.
application is very specific
Mm-hmm.
to the people involved, what matters to them, what doesn't matter to them, what they can agree to, that they like, that feels best to them, and what doesn't. Because it's it seems to me that a person who wants some time alone, um, it it's I'd have to know the specifics of why the other people don't want that person to be alone in order to find um, a harmonious answer. Does that make
Uh,
sense?
yeah, it does. It does. Uh, I got it. That it is limited to where it can be implemented. And will you define one
Yes.
rule in the category of, like, if you have a category of, let's say, spiritual, mental, and physical? So, which areas one rule will work the most?
Well, I think it kind of involves all of them when um, because it is possible to use it personally, but even to find harmony inside yourself, and to do that, all those parts are involved. But I think now that you're bringing this up, I think that even when people are finding harmony between themselves, all those parts are involved too.
Like, which is the most one?
Well, it would be hard for, I mean, it would be hard for me to say that one or the other would be the most.
Okay.
I guess it would depend on the situation. Everything about the one rule depends on the situation. So if there were a situation where well, I was going to say I'd have, that's the thing about the one rule, is it's completely specific to a given moment, whether it's finding harmony in yourself or finding harmony with others. So it really requires that kind of knowledge of what's going on at the moment.
Okay. Uh, uh, because I was thinking that, like, one rule when classify, suppose if someone gets mental happiness, so obviously then mental later on for spiritual also it will go ahead, right? And it can be taken in these all areas, like you were just saying that it's hard to define. It was just coming in my mind that when we categorize this, classify this one rule, and like you are going in deep in the sessions right now, so people can understand that how to implement and where to implement. So I'm asking these questions so audience,
That's
whoever
good.
will be listening, that they can get more knowledge related to it, for the one rule thing,
I really
that how.
appreciate this.
And Miss Karen, suppose if someone, let's say, does an agreement that no matter what, we are going to speak the truth and we are going to be honest. And sometimes situation comes in which when we speak the truth, that truth becomes bitter for other people. Sometimes harsh, or maybe it can be an ugly truth. You can say like that to the other person, but like, to be honest, he has to or she has to say it. At that time when she says, maybe she can break someone's heart, and if she doesn't say, then she's showing dishonesty because she's keeping in her heart, or he's keeping in his heart, he's showing dishonesty. At that situation, what should the person do? Should he follow the one rule and speak about it irrespective of thinking that what will be the reaction, or should control the emotions towards this one rule and let it go, that like how to overcome this situation?
Um, well, the situation that I understand that you're saying is that um, there's people, like maybe a family, and they have all decided and feel good about their decision that um, that they are going to always speak the truth to each other. Is that kind of the situation?
Yes.
Okay, then let's say somebody has a thought or experience that would be hurtful to another person in that family, right?
Yes.
Right. So so they're not sure what to do.
Yes.
Okay. Then Okay, let's see. Because my thought was that would be another issue to bring up in the family. To bring up what they want to do if one of them has something something they've noticed or an experience they've had that they know that if they share it with someone in the family or everyone in the family, it's going to bring unhappiness. And then that's another issue that they can decide what they want to do about that, whether they want to share it and deal with whatever comes up, or whether they decide that each of them will make those kind of decisions on their own. There could be many other options of ways to deal with it. But it seems like that would be something that would need to be addressed also. Because when they decided to speak the truth, I mean, they're not going to be constantly, most unlikely anyway, be constantly sharing what they're thinking, what they did that day. There could be many things that go on that it just doesn't come up to be shared. So when there is something really important, that that's something maybe that I would say they need to address that, like what do talk about how they would feel in those situations, what's important to them, and come to some agreement about that kind of situation too, because that is I would say a specific kind of situation. Does
Yep.
that make sense?
Yep. Yes. It does. It does. Thank you so much, Miss Karen. This is really, letting me think more about it,
Uh-huh.
giving me deep, deep thoughts about it. It's really good.
Oh, good.
Can I ask a question which is, I think, not related with one rule, but suppose
Yes.
it's about the growing age of the children. When they grow and they get exposure to some words which are inappropriate for them, and they listen from their adults and they use those words,
Right.
how can we stop them and talk to them about it?
Um, well, if you have a problem, if somebody has a problem with words their child is using, they could they could let them know. Um, They could tell them how the words make them feel. They could tell them, they could have a discussion about those words, and come to some kind of agreement that feels good to both of them about them. In other words, they could use the one rule there too.
But how to, counsel them, tell them? How can we tell them? Because when adults use those words, how can we explain them they should not use? How can we, like, suppose if adults are using in front of the children, it
Right,
really becomes very hard to explain the children not to use. So when they say that if our adult is wrong and then telling them, yes, your adults are wrong, that is also something in which teachers and educators get stuck, because when kids hear these things at home, and then they might think and then they share and they pass on that word, it becomes really very hard.
right. Um, well, I mean, you could explain that not everybody thinks that those words are wrong to use,
Mm.
but most people know that in certain situations, certain words are used, and in other situations, those same words are not used. Um, because there's so many things that they will know that uh, that apply to, because here again everything is situational. um, because there may be words um, that will bring troubles to them if they use them in certain situations. Uh, they will make other people feel bad. They will make other people have uh, negative thoughts about them. Um, they will have, people might think they're a bad person, and uh, there could be many ways to have them make conscious choices about it. And I'm sure that it could be done um, in a way that makes sense to them, that they can agree to, and that the adults involved can agree to too.
Yes. But do you believe, Miss Karen, that like we teach children, there should be a session in which parents should also come and sit with the children and resolve the queries along with the educators?
That what is your question?
My question is, suppose the way we teach children, we interact with the children, we listen to the children, why don't we have a session, a conference where children versus the parents. They sit together along with their queries, with the educators or whom they trust, the counselors, and speak about it in an open platform in a general way, not accusing particularly any house or any child, but in a general way. A session or something should be done by schools, institutions, in which they can raise these little pet issues, and parents can get to know how educators, get in problem, or how what educators do, then parents get in problem. I'm talking about both ways to help both of them.
So to have like a meeting with groups of parents, all the parents, one
Yes,
parent,
yeah,
like
of
an
course, one level.
assembly type.
Yes, like like where
Yeah,
we can implement this. Yes, like the one rule can be implemented over there as well for the success of, uniting children, educators, and parents on one platform to work for
yeah,
the betterment of the children.
yeah, that sounds good.
Because I was thinking that to issue, like to resolve the issues, where they can get you to know about the one rule even, where they can speak about it, where they listen to it. Because the problem is people don't listen. Sometimes they want others to listen, but they don't listen.
Right,
And mostly children are left behind because no one listens to them.
right.
Giving them food, giving them education, providing them with clothes, or buying them expensive toys, or taking out for outings on restaurants and vacations is not the solution. Sometimes these things, even you do, the child remains alone.
Right.
The child needs the company of the parents. Child need a friend, protective feeling with the parents.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because if this was the solution, we could have seen that every child would have been flourished with, confidence by having trips and having expensive toys. But we don't see that.
Hmm.
I can see a street boy with more confidence than a very rich boy.
Aha. Right. That could be.
Because sometimes a street boy is a child is playing on the street, but his parents are giving him time. They're sitting and eating with him. They're talking to him. They're, making jokes, sharing about little happiness, whatever it is. They're together into it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And sometimes a rich boy is deprived of this. He feels,
Right.
lack of confidence,
Huh.
making friends or thinking about it, thinking of too many restrictions on him. That if I do like that, my parents will do. If I do like that, this is my boundary. I can't do that. These things also, which we think as rules sometimes for our children, sometimes they become changed also, because as time is changing, rules also need to be changed along with their grooming and raising. We can't, raise our children with the typical old where we were raised. Maybe the
Right.
time has changed, because in our times social media was not the way it is now.
No.
We didn't have the exposure to having live Zoom shows and so many things,
Right.
we didn't have that. But now
Right.
you have all those things.
Yeah, we do.
Because you see, right now you're working about the one rule from one place, but around the world you're working for it globally. That is why your show is here and everyone can watch anywhere from any time at any place.
Right. Yeah. I was thinking
And
about
it is
what
for
you
all class.
said
Yeah, and it
about,
is for all class. Like you are doing it for all class, upper, middle,
yes.
lower, middle, every class. It's for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. And the one thought that comes is that when you use the one rule, then you are very connected with whoever you are doing it with between. So in this case, we're talking parents and child, or even teacher and child. or or like you were saying, anyway, there's such a because in order to use the one rule, you have to connect. It's like you're not, that's the only
Yes,
way
you
that
have
you
to
can
connect. Yes,
find.
you have.
Yeah. And such confidence and happiness comes out of this for everyone involved, because they get to have things go in ways that feel good to them, and they get to be part of the decision. So that means that automatically will bring the parents and the children close together, because to find the harmonious solution, you have to, and it could just take a few minutes, but it's a really true bond connection.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm so glad all these questions, Batool. It's
Thank
so
you.
it
Thank
gives
you.
such uh, a broader and deeper perspective on this whole thing, on the one rule. So that's
Because
good.
the more you get to know, the more you love this rule, the more you feel confident in using it.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, because the more you might be feeling this, that the more solutions you are giving through this one rule right now to the queries I'm asking. So it
Yeah,
gives that feeling, of happiness and saying that finally this one rule is digging these, helping the solutions, leading towards the solution.
right. Yeah, it
Thank you
is.
so much, Miss Karen. Thank you so much. God bless you. And
Thank
I
you
hope
too.
to, I'll come again with more queries, which whatever
Ah,
comes in my,
yes, that's wonderful.
I'll
Yeah, and
think about it
maybe
and share
maybe
with you.
your idea of having parents and school staff and students all together, maybe we can do a webinar or something like
Yeah,
that.
just why not? Why
Yeah.
not? I'll talk to Yasser about it as well. That let's
Okay.
plan a webinar and let's invite the children and parents into it, and Miss Karen can discuss their issues related with the one rule.
Yeah, and
And
I'll do that here too.
yeah,
For
you
the
can tell the
Yeah.
others also. Yeah, we can have this together. Unity. It will be a great show.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Batul.
Most welcome. Most welcome, Miss Karen.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye bye. Take care, Miss Karen.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
week.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you.